Welcome, lords and ladies. I am SocioPsycho, and this is Mob Reviews. And today we take a look at The Room. This was created by Fireproof Studios, and it is a puzzle in a very atmospheric designed world, available on PC. And let's see just how well it does. And we will begin by going into the options menu. Now you do have the choice of hints on or off. This is very important to note that hints do not ruin the gameplay for you. Think of it as opening a door. If you have a key in hand and the door is locked, the hint doesn't tell you put the key in the door. The hint would say perhaps the lock needs to be identified. Or perhaps I should investigate the door more closely. It's very subtle about the hints it gives you, never to truly spoil anything, but maybe help you with an oversight. Hints in many games are difficult to pay off without ruining the experience for the gamer, and yet here, it does it just right to a almost, if not, perfect stance. You have a volume setting, as the main sounds you'll hear in the game are the music, and a couple subtle sounds in the manipulation of a world, whether you're turning a lock or opening a drawer, but those sounds are very quiet and low, and so your main concern really is the music. The balance of the sound and the music have been done in such an amazing fashion, not only in the quality of the sounds and music, but the implementation to really hit a atmospheric environment. When we go into graphic settings, the graphic settings of a game are pretty simplistic, as you can see. Very low, medium, good, or amazing. You do have a large variety of screen resolutions, which is definitely nice. The game has been running at 60 frames per second with no tearing, clipping, or crashing. I have not had any performance issues whatsoever while playing. And while the options for the game may be simplistic, the graphic quality of the game is beautiful. For such a small game, for such a simplistic idea for a game, the graphics are on par with a AAA title. Now when we go back to the main page, you do have a choice in between new game, select chapter, or reset game. This is very nice because you have the availability to either pick a chapter you want and play that one, or go through the game all new, or reset all your progress. So when we jump in here, you'll see that the game graphically looks very nice, and the whole basis of the game is to solve a puzzle. But it's not as simplistic as that. There are many mechanics to this game. Now we'll start off by talking about level design, and that may seem like an odd choice. Why would we talk about level design in a puzzle game? Well, it's important because the puzzle is not 2D. The puzzle of this game is a 3D model that opens up into more and more parts the further you get in. You unlock the box, and inside is another puzzle. The game is wrapped around a well-coded level design that interacts with itself. You unlock one aspect of a puzzle, one side, and a panel opens up on another. It has this sense of alive, as close as you can get to actually manipulating a real puzzle in real life. It reacts to the things you do, and as you progress through the game, you unlock one area and a slot or panel opens up on the other side, and you're like, ooh, what now? And you have this sense of one puzzle leads into the other. The puzzle type and strategy of a game may not be difficult enough for some people, but I never found that it was too difficult. There are parts, depending on the person, that you will get stuck on. Different people get stuck on different areas. What may be silly for me to get stuck on would be laughably easy for you, and vice versa. But I never felt as if the game was unfair in its design. The whole concept of a game, to unlock and open up a puzzle inside a puzzle, was so beautifully done. And the elements of the puzzle are so in transit that you don't feel like you're repeating yourself. The puzzle element of the game, the aspect where you spend all your time. Do I type in this code? Do I rotate this one ability? I never felt there was an overusage as the mass majority of the puzzles go. There was one symbol in the game, a symbol that you had to continuously piece together in a different fashion. Now, the aspect of how you piece this symbol together was relatively the same, and you see it about maybe 6-7 times throughout the 5 chapters. That alone was really the only repeating puzzle throughout the entire game. Yes, there were some elements. What is the password here? How do I find out this password? But in the motion of how to figure those out and how you interact with your environment was completely different. Chapter 1 felt way different than Chapter 2, and so on and so forth. It's not often that I can find a game that can make you feel in a puzzle sense of accomplishment without banging your head against the wall. Now that may be great for a lot of people. A lot of people will love this because it allows them to have a puzzle element that wraps them up and around and makes them not feel too discouraged while playing. For a few, the puzzle may seem too easy, and it may seem as if a challenge was not met. But I feel the game is open more puzzly to the majority of people, and it tells a story as you progress forward. You unlock one after another, and you have a sense of accomplishment. One puzzle leads to one more, and you conquer them all, and you feel this swell, not for the story. The story is told in an atmospheric fashion and notes scribbled down. It's not a bad thing. The story is minimalistic, but it's good enough. And the ever-accomplishing completion of puzzles, it urges you forward again and again to the end of the game. And when you get there, when you get to the end of the game, it leaves it open to a second game. And part of me is, wait, I just did all these puzzles, I completed this game, and I was waiting for that final push, that final giant leap of accomplishment, of I did it, congratulations. But instead, it said, good job, but leaves it open to a second possibility, a room 2, a sequel. And while that is interesting desire, I still feel the game is worth, even though I feel kind of shortchanged by the ending. Not enough to feel discouraged from recommending it, but enough to feel as if all the work I put in didn't exactly amount to what I was hoping for in a finalization. The atmosphere of the game ties this all together. There is an element of supernatural elements to it. The game has a spooky feel. I wouldn't say horror. Horror is not the correct term. When you think horror, you're thinking, ooh, there's going to be a jump scare. Or, ooh, I'm going to get chased and eaten by a monster. This is not really horror. This is a atmospheric spook. The music plays perfectly upon the own psychological doubts, or players' curiosity allows their mind to wander due to some of the music, and you start thinking like, man, this is a little creepy. Think of it as walking past a graveyard at night, or some variation. The graveyard's not going to change from nighttime or daytime, but that fact that it's night might creep you out a little bit. It has the same element. There's no harm to be found. There's no danger to be heard. But you just have a sense of something is not right. There's something about this which just doesn't seem to add up. pulls it off perfectly. So at the end of a day, when all is said and done, and you have an accomplishment like this, a puzzle-based game that is as intrinsic and deep as this one, it opens up into more and more puzzles, and one part throws into another part, and it reacts to what you do, and you feel a sense of just diving right in, mixed with the amazing job of the atmosphere and the great sense of accomplishment. This, lords and ladies, is a easy recommend. If you enjoy puzzle games, you must pick this up. And if you do not enjoy puzzle games, or you are on the fence, I would recommend definitely looking at this, because this might be the one that changes how you feel about it. Thank you for listening and watching, for I have been SocioPsycho, and I'll see you next time.